This is Saturday, December 9th. There are 221 days until San Diego Comic-Con 2018. Welcome to SDConCast, the official podcast of the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog.
BANUHTW, go.
Oh my god, I love LiveJournal, and my LiveJournal loves me. Current is hyperactive.
All right, we are ready to go with open registration. Joining me on the podcast today, as always, is Carrie Dixon.
Hey, guys, thanks for joining us this morning.
And also joining us this morning is Andy Wagner.
Bah humbug, it's way too early out here in San Diego.
And San Diego is on fire, so...
Well, the northern.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah, we're actually in a safe zone where everybody is evacuating too, so El Cajon's going to get pretty crowded.
Yeah. Great. Okay, but today, this morning, is the big deal. The open registration for San Diego Comic-Con 2018. And we will be taking your questions and comments throughout the show. You can tweet us at SD_comic_con or use the hashtag SDConCast. We will also be keeping an eye on the YouTube live chat if you want to comment there. We will go over some information and share some tips and keep an eye on what's going on. So anything to start off with, Carrie, besides jumping right into it?
I mean, let's just get into it. So the waiting room opened up about 34 minutes ago, and for the most part, things seem to be going pretty smoothly. The biggest issue right now is just a lot of people have been reporting that they've been having trouble accessing the member ID, and it is working. It's just really slow, presumably because of all the traffic. I will say, I feel like I've had way more people asking this morning than ever before, like, how do I get my code? Where's my code? What do I do? And I'm not sure if that's because I also feel like I had way more people than ever this year tell me that they felt like their emails went to spam. Because CCI does email you out the reg code and link, and for almost everyone I know, it went to spam. Including me, which that was the first time I'd had that do it. So that may have something to do with why people are like freaking out more than normal this morning. I don't know. But beyond that, things seem to be going mostly okay. So,
mostly okay.
Mostly okay. It's just another fun badge sale at our 4th one this year. Can we not do this again?
Yes.
Please. Yeah, so we're not kidding. This is the 4th badge sale we've had in a year, mostly because for 2017 badge sales, everything was incredibly delayed. And then now for 2018, everything is incredibly early. And yeah, I love you guys, but this is kind of our off season and Comic-Con is kind of ruining it.
But imagine how spread out everything else will be now.
Yeah.
With hotels.
No announcements now for like 3 months. Will be radio silence. So that'll be fun. And speaking of hotels. Yeah, let's
questions about it.
Yeah. Great. Let's talk really quick about hotels. So you can actually technically book a hotel right now. There's 2 different hotel sales. There's Early Bird, which is what's going on right now. This is for non-downtown hotels. So this is going to be like Mission Valley, the airport, further out hotels. But there is a free shuttle for almost all of those hotels that'll take you to the convention center. But these hotels are also non-refundable. So if you don't care about staying downtown and you just want a hotel and you just want to know where you're staying, like the Early Bird is awesome. It's a guaranteed hotel. You don't have to worry about it. Great. But for everybody else, for the general hotel sale, which includes, it still includes Mission Valley and the airport, but it also includes all the downtown hotels. That is looking like it will be sometime in April. And it saddens me to say, it sounds right now like it's going to be late April. Early Bird right now is scheduled to go through, and I don't have it pulled up, but something like April 26th or something along those lines. And typically when that ends, immediately the general hotel sale happens. And we're also right on last year's timing, which that was around when it was last year, because the Exhibitor hotels just opened up and they don't get their placements until March. And they always get their placements before the general hotel sale. And they got their placements last year as well in March. So again, it sounds like we're right on last year's timing for that. It's just the badge sales that are stupid early.
Gets them out of the way, though. I'm telling you.
It does. But then, like, why can't we then have the hotel sale in like February? You know.
Because that's Valentine's Day. Everybody's focused on.
So Christmas is in like 2 weeks,
right?
What's your point?
Are you
focused on Christmas anyway?
A little bit more people celebrating Christmas than.
Yes, well, and Christmas like requires a lot more monetary like spending than Valentine's Day for the average person.
And of course, there are outliers who love the fact that this is all getting done early. Now, one benefit, of course, is you now have all these extra months now that you know you're going or not to either plan other trips or make sure that you can get good airfare. You have a chance to get cheap flights. So there are benefits to having it this early.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think any of us really like have a problem with it being early. I think it's just a little bit frustrating when the previous badge sale was so late and now this one is so early. It's just the 4 badge sales in a year. Like if this was the norm and if this is the norm going forward, like great. I just don't want to do this 4 times in a year again. It's really what I'm saying.
So now next year, if they do it at this time, it won't be as big a deal.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Not to change the subject, but I want to break in here, guys, and say that I just saw on Twitter that today is the Geeky Hooker's birthday.
Aw, yay.
So happy birthday to our favorite crochet critter dropper at Comic-Con.
That's right. That's right.
Happy birthday.
Right. Yes.
So while we're waiting for this to start, we've got about 20 minutes or so.
Yes.
Let's discuss the biggest Comic-Con news for almost for the year. So
you know what? I mean, we've had like a decent amount.
We have
so far.
This is a big deal. The Salt Lake City Comic-Con versus Comic-Con trademark case was what done, finished, settled. The jury awarded Comic-Con a win. They said that Salt Lake Comic-Con violated their trademark on all counts, but they only gave them $20,000 in advertising compensation when CCI had asked for $12 million total between damages and advertising compensation.
So that's a huge drop, obviously, in price. And yes, CCI won, but I know you have some thoughts about kind of what that difference in price says, James.
Yeah, it basically says, we know that you own the trademark Comic-Con, but it didn't harm you at all because there was no real harm monetarily. So the only harm was they took your name.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I mean, the fact that we're even doing this today and like that getting badges at all is this difficult, like I think pretty much says like no, Comic-Con International was not harmed monetarily. Like there are still more people who want to attend San Diego Comic-Con than there are badges.
Well,
it also proves their point that the brand name Comic-Con really does mean San Diego, or at least it has up until recently when there are more Comic-Cons around. But for the last 25, 30 years, if you said Comic-Con, you were talking about San Diego.
Absolutely.
You didn't have to say Salt Lake Comic-Con, or if you were in a town that had one of the big cons like Phoenix, if you said Comic-Con in one of those towns 15 years ago, you knew you were talking about San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
But now that there's all these bigger cons using the name, when you're in those towns, you're talking about the local convention. But that's only happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So the brand name was Comic-Cons before that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the other things that potentially could come out of this decision, especially the $20,000 value, is that is potentially the precedent that's set that is what CCI could charge other Comic-Cons, the fee they could charge to use the quote-unquote Comic-Con title.
Well, it's my understanding, though, that right now they do ask that other conventions pay them a monetary fee to use the name Comic-Con. It's not like every convention out there is just using the name nilly-willy. Now, I'm sure there are a lot, and I have no idea like what the statistics are for like how many actually pay Comic-Con versus how many don't and all of that. But there are several that do pay a fee, and I don't know what that fee is. But yeah, I mean, moving forward, they could be a lot stricter about enforcing that rule. They could be, yeah.
Well, yeah,
be interesting.
Before it was a completely unofficial rule. Now there's actually a decision in the courts on the books.
Well, I mean, it wasn't an unofficial rule. Like they owned the trademark. Like that's
right.
That was what the whole thing was.
It's just
about.
This is the first time it was challenged.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So what it basically it effectively does is brings out into the open that CCI is essentially the gatekeeper for the Comic-Con brand.
Yes.
And they can now potentially shut down conventions that they feel, or at least make them change their name. That's really all they can do is make them change their name. They cannot be called a Comic-Con. So if for some reason Phoenix got on their bad side, even though it's spelled differently, they may have a case to go after them for using a potentially market confusing name and make them change it to something else, you know?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
you know, like the giant Fan Expo, they don't use Comic-Con in their name at all. So it's just Fan Expo. So they're never going to run into a problem with Comic-Con because they don't even use the name. But they're also giant.
Yeah.
That's true.
You don't have to use Comic-Con to be a giant.
That's exactly correct. So the sale will kick off here in about 15 minutes, and let's talk real quick about what's going to happen here in 15 minutes, and we'll get back to some more Comic-Con news here in just a little bit. But here in about 15 minutes at 9 a.m., they will begin randomly sorting everyone, and it's not like the old days where you used to like have a little placeholder that would tell you like you're number 11,000 in line. Gone are those days. Now we are all just Cheerios in a bowl, and we are randomly selected. But when it is your turn to be selected, which hopefully you are, what will happen is it will first ask you for an eligible member ID. This does not have to be your own member ID. If you are purchasing for someone else, you can totally enter their member ID so long as they are eligible. If someone else has already purchased their badge for them today, then it will tell you like this member ID is not eligible, choose another one. But again, it does not have to be your own member ID. So if you don't want to buy a badge for yourself, you absolutely don't have to. Once you've validated that first member ID, it will ask you how many badges do you want to purchase today, like for how many people, and you can select from 1 to 3. So you'll do that, and then it will take you to a page where you can enter in the other 2 member IDs if you want to purchase 3, and you can then select which days you want from the available inventory. And we've also had a lot of questions today about if let's say you purchased 4 days in returning registration, but you didn't get preview night. Number one, you can still participate in today's sale. You can still add on preview night. And number two, if preview night sells out before you are selected, it's not going to like automatically kick you out of the system. It's not going to boot you out. It's basically just going to take you, and it will show you how many available badge types are there for preview night. It'll just say 0, so you just can't select anything. So like you'll be able to see the screen, you just can't select anything. But I think James has a nifty little graphic about how long it took for open registration badge types to sell out last year. So after it kicks off at 9 a.m., we've put the times it took for everything to sell out. So there's a couple minutes where they sort everyone. But at 9:24 last year, preview night was gone. When I say last year, I really mean like February or March or whenever that sale was. And Saturday sold out a little bit later at 9:42. Friday at 9:49. Sunday looks like would have been at 10:10. And Thursday, finally, which was the last badge type available, would have sold out at 10:12. So pre-registration or returning registration usually takes closer to like 50 to 60 minutes. And open registration has taken that short of amount of time before, so we'll be here anywhere from 50 to 75 minutes, I'd say, after 9. Anything you guys want to add?
For those of you who are currently watching the Spinning Blue Cheerio, you have about 13 minutes to make sure that you have all of your payment stuff handy, your credit card, debit card, PayPal info, whatever. Make sure you guys have your buying groups together and that you're all on the same page. You know who you're buying for, if you're buying for yourself and or others. And get yourself a nice cup of coffee if that's what you drink, or whatever your morning beverage is, and enjoy the wheel that goes round and round.
And remember that one checkout is one payment. You can't split payment.
And there's also now a $5 fee.
Right.
Yes.
Per person, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yes. And the other thing is I had it in my head a second ago, but
sorry. Take screenshots of everything. If you get through and you are able to purchase a badge, take a screenshot of your confirmation. If you have any kind of issues, any kind of errors, take a screenshot. Comic-Con in the past has been usually like fairly accommodating with people who have had issues. So please make sure that you screenshot everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I don't remember what I was going to say, but it was some warning about buying the badges and making sure everything you do is correct. I know what it was. In your buying group, make sure you have instant communication available because of how important it is to make sure you have the right name going into the first section of the entry into buying tickets, because they will kick you out if you put in someone who's already in a session, right?
If it's someone, well, that's not entirely, it won't kick you out. It used to, but in returning registration for the first time, it seems like they finally fixed it to where it doesn't like automatically just boot you out. It basically just tells you like this is not eligible. But it's still
use or something like that.
Yes, but it's still incredibly important to communicate. Like, if you don't want someone who's in like a large buying group, like having to dig through like 20 member IDs to find one that's eligible, like that's not right, guys. So just be considerate of others. Make sure you're communicating all of that. Real quick, Lady Hawkins asked, is there a fee for purchasing badges if international, if not being posted out? Yes. I have a feeling that this $5 fee is actually basically covering credit card fees.
Probably.
Yeah, it has nothing whatsoever to do like with your badge being mailed out.
Also, speaking of which, once you get in there, if you are one of the lucky few who are chosen, remember you have 15 minutes. Whatever inventory is there once you get in is going to be there for those 15 minutes. Now, you'll be surprised at how fast those 15 minutes can go if you're scrambling, trying to get information together, talking to your buying group. If you've got a member ID that's already been used, those 15 minutes go by fast. So make sure that you have everything in order so that you can get in, get those member IDs set in, get those dates selected, make your payment, and get out. That way you're sure that you have all the days that you want.
Yes. So we had some questions earlier about how do you know when badge types sell out? There's a couple different ways. Number one, you can keep an eye on that yellow status bar that everyone should see. It's on a little bit of a delay sometimes, and that's also because the waiting rooms refresh every, I think it's 120 seconds or so, but not everyone's refreshes at the exact same time. So if your friend is ever like, I see this on the yellow status bar and you don't, like, it doesn't necessarily mean something's broken for you. It just means you're refreshing at different rates. But that usually talks about inventory, and that will usually tell you when inventory is running low for certain dates. You can also keep an eye on Comic-Con International social media. On Twitter, they always post when certain badge days sell out. But again, You can pick up anything you were not able to get in returning registration, and if something sells out prior to you being selected, it's not going to automatically boot you from the room.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We had a question. If you created member IDs after the closing time, can someone with an approved member ID purchase their badges? No. Unfortunately, there was a cutoff, and it doesn't matter if you yourself are confirmed and registered and you did everything on time. If you want to purchase a badge for your friend, but let's say they just signed up this morning, they missed the cutoff. So each and every single person who you purchase for has to be eligible completely on their own. If they're not, then you are not going to be able to purchase a badge for them. Tickets from returning. That's interesting. We did have one other question the other day on Twitter about the $5 purchasing fee, and I don't know the answer. I'm interested to see. So obviously, if you are adding on days from returning registration, you've already paid a $5 fee once. I'm interested to see if you have to pay it a second time. And someone else, and I remember this from returning registration, said, we never resolved an issue with being charged a $5 fee, but no tickets from returning registration. They took that, and it looks like to some people, and they weren't able to get a resolution. So basically, they never got badges, but they were charged $5. So that's kind of sucky.
That's okay. That's weird.
Yes, I know. Amanda Panda on Twitter just asked, has parking been announced? No. So normally when we do these sales, we do know parking information, but because it's happened so early, it's just way too early for parking. It's way too early for most hotel news. So yeah, it's just early. But well, we've got like 5 minutes. Let's talk about some early news that has actually been announced.
Oh boy.
Yes. Let's.
So, Andy, I believe some confirmations went out the other week. You want to talk about that?
Yes, we've got some happy exhibitors that will be at Comic-Con. Believe it or not, we thought we were done with posting UTTs after July, but we came out with one last UTT for the year. You can find that on our blog site. And it mentions quite a few exhibitors. I believe there had to be over 20 who announced that either they were or were not going to be at Comic-Con. So if there is a favorite artist or particular booth that you absolutely, positively have to get on that exhibit floor to go see, you can check out our UTT, and we may have an answer for you in there. Let's see here. Yeah.
While you're looking that up real quick, we just had a question. Do I have to buy an 11-year-old a ticket? That's one thing we didn't cover previously. Okay. Children 12 and under, you can actually register them for free at the convention. Technically, it says with a paying adult, but I know plenty of people who have like free badge types, whether that's volunteer, press, pro, whatever, who haven't necessarily had to pay to register their child. Continue on, Andy.
Okay. But just as an example, we've had exhibitors like Toddland will be back. Geeky Hooker said that she will be back doing more critter drops. So anybody else who crochets those little critters, get in touch with her because she's always looking to buddy up. And then for the rest of them, there are quite a few, and more are still announcing that they either will or won't be there. So if you don't see them on our UTT post, take a look at their social media. So chances are that they've already mentioned something. Some of them even actually told us where they're going to be. Yep.
So the yellow status bar right now in the waiting room says we're getting close, so don't evacuate the waiting room. Engage your computer. So we are getting close here. And again, here in just a couple of minutes, they'll begin randomly sorting everyone and then letting people through. Yeah, so we're very close. It's exciting. And this is always the fun part because like anything is possible. At the end of the sale, it's a little bit less fun because a lot of people don't have a
People
bag.
go, there's two directions people go, the Bugs Bunny thing. So they went that way. It's either really happy or really sad.
Yep.
Right now, it's all hope.
This must be that awkward silence we were talking about.
It is, yes.
Hold on.
You talk about the next news thing for a second.
Amen.
Okay. Conan's back.
Woot!
Right? I mean,
Yep.
he will be.
Yeah,
Not back
Conan.
right now.
No, he's not back right now. Yeah, he confirmed. Well, he didn't confirm. A press release from one of their like vendor partners basically confirmed that he'll be back this year, and he'll have Google something or other. Really up my game this morning, people.
Again this year.
Google something or other. That's right. That's right. All right. I mean, that's cool, and I would expect him to be back for 4 days again. I know last year was kind of weird because he was really only there. He did 4 shows, but he did 2 in a day. But I really and truly believe that was due to like a last-minute scheduling snafu. I really do. So I would expect it to be the normal like Wednesday through Saturday tapings again, like it had been in previous years to this year. So that's cool. Everyone should be excited about that. Do we have any questions, guys?
Do we have questions? We have all kinds of questions. Where's my money? No, that's not the right question.
Where's your money?
Okay. So someone asked if there is any unofficial SDCC party news. No.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
He was doing a thing. I didn't know. Yes, there is. We announced it on the last podcast. You know this.
Come on, I'm not paying attention.
You're not paying attention. Okay. Well, UBlog, Too Furious, Tokyo Drift. I assume you all see what we're doing. Will return this year. We don't really have a lot of details. It'll be Wednesday night again, just like it always is. Our goal is very much to make it informal, just like last year, to where like you don't have to buy a ticket. You can just show up, talk to us. We're vaguely entertaining people.
It's Comic-Con and
buy some beer, listen to some karaoke.
Yeah. Oh God.
Answer some trivia, whatever random thing that happens to be going on at the bar we choose, because they don't tell us in advance that those things are happening. You know, all the fun stuff. But
that's what happens when you don't pay for a venue. But that's also why we're not charging you for tickets. So
right,
it's a win-win.
But on the plus side, what that also means is that Prize Mule will be back.
Yes.
And basically spreading loot cheer all around Comic-Con again this year.
And I hope you guys loved that, because that was like my favorite thing that we've done. It really was.
Personally, my favorite thing about the get-together last year was hearing about how awesome Carrie Dixon is. That's all we heard from everybody who came. Carrie is so awesome.
And it's okay, guys.
That my wife was you.
Well,
just because you guys wear glasses.
That's a little bit funny. Well, I mean, we look different, you know, like on a computer screen versus real life. Sometimes it's hard to tell. All right. Badge sales have been earlier. Let's see here. We don't really know too much about that many other offsite chat. It's really just too early to know about that kind of stuff right now. But I mean, plenty of news will start happening.
And a lot of offsites actually didn't get announced until it felt like kind of late last year. Like everyone kind of dumped it in the last month or so.
Yes. Well, that happens every year.
I mean, all the early stuff
wasn't announced until the day of.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I know. Can we stop the trend of like announcing exclusives and offsites like Wednesday night?
Right.
Please. Like at that point, I don't care.
It's just stupid.
I'm not helping you promote it. It is stupid. All right. So thank you for your patience. So they should be sorting people now.
Yeah, it is 9:01.
It is. So people should start getting through here pretty quick. So if you do get through, let us know. And again, the cool thing about this is the early part, and so everyone can be excited. And again, based on that graphic that we had, it took a while last year for preview night to sell out, and that's always the very first thing to sell out. But that took about 24 minutes last year, so it'll be a while before anything sells out. But yeah, this is the fun time. Let's see here.
Whew. Well, while everybody is also paying attention, there was also the very first exclusive news, which is really odd.
It is odd.
Because there's an exclusive 7 months, announced 7 months before. Now, some of them we know because they have long production times. Like
Yeah.
But
And
this one is
there was a
different because it's
reluctant
from Funko,
announcement.
who usually has their exclusives come out in the month and a half before the con on a weekly basis, basically. And they announced that Josie from Riverdale will be a Comic-Con exclusive, shared with Hot
Yeah.
Topic.
Yep.
And the reason they announced it early is because she does not appear on the packaging for the just released Riverdale Pops, and they knew that everybody was going to be pissed.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's the entire reason they announced. Yeah. But that's okay, and that's really cool. Like, and I'm really glad, honestly, that Funko for the last 2 years at least has started to do, instead of just like variants, but like actual new molds and pops for their exclusives. Like, it just makes it so much more fun. So yeah.
John on the chat asked if they're buying for my friend only. Do I enter my ID or his ID to purchase badges?
His. You will
His.
enter your friends. Yes. You will enter your friends. Again, the member ID you enter does not have to match the registration code in the slightest. It doesn't matter at all. Like, so long as you have a valid registration code and you have someone's valid member ID, you can buy a badge. It doesn't matter. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. I'm watching Twitter to see if anybody makes it out.
Yeah, same here.
Yep. So someone should be making it through here pretty soon.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Sergeant Finley19, who complimented me on my Penn State sweatshirt. We are.
Woohoo! I don't understand sports. Cool.
It's not even a sports thing. It's a Penn State thing.
Fair enough.
So while we are waiting for the sale to actually start or for people to make it in or whatever is happening, also volunteer registration is full.
Yes.
So no more.
Oh, yes.
No more volunteering.
Yep. And it was interesting. It was really interesting, actually, with volunteer reg the last 2 years. So last year it took forever to sell out. And the way that volunteer reg is, if you volunteer the previous year, you get to register first, which is called priority volunteer registration. And then a couple months ago, you had to sign up on an interest list. And then the people who signed up on the interest list, they offer those people slots. It used to be, though, prior to 2017, that the interest list registration would close within about 15 minutes. Last year, and I think a lot of last year had to do with it being after open registration, and so a lot of the people who normally would have been like, oh, I'll volunteer, went ahead and got their badges because they weren't sure if they were going to make it in. It took so long that they actually opened it up to literally everyone. This year, it wasn't quite that bad, but it did take several days, something like 10 days, for them to finally say volunteer registration was all full. So what that means is, if you are not successful today, but you want to attend in 2019, what I would do, honestly, is make absolutely certain that you, starting right after Comic-Con, you start checking that volunteer page for that interest list so that you can sign up and you can get a badge that way. And Andy, I think you've actually volunteered in the past, right?
I have, and it was a lot of fun. Because of my work and research here on the blog, I actually knew a lot more than some of the other supervisors knew, but I went in on preview night. I was just standing there by one of the RFID posts, and I just had to make sure that they highlight or high five the zombie so that they would tap in. People asked questions. We pointed them to the right places, and that was mainly about it. It's not a hard job. It's 3 hours out of your life, and you
get a free badge. Like, you don't have to pay.
And I mean, preview night, sure, that was a big chunk of it, but like if you volunteer on Friday, you volunteer first thing in the morning, you've got some time in the afternoon, your badge is good for the whole day. So you can go do whatever you want the rest of the day.
Yeah. So I still haven't seen anyone who's made it in yet. Have you guys?
No, neither have I.
So they may still be sorting.
Well, there are about 10 times more people, 20 times more people trying to get tickets today versus returning. So
absolutely.
At least 10 times more people.
Yes. Yes. I know. This sale is always like so much more disheartening than returning registration. Just because there is like such a huge amount of people trying. But we shall see.
Yeah, and it looks like my Penn State buddy, Sergeant Finley 19, says that they've always gone as a volunteer. It's free. You're guaranteed a badge. They once got to work the Marvel booth when Stan Lee was there. Hey, that's awesome.
That is cool. And you get a shirt as well, don't you?
You do. You get, anything for a free T-shirt. But
pretty much,
you get cool swag. You get opportunities like that. So really, volunteering is a sweet deal.
Absolutely. So again, I still haven't seen anyone who's made it through.
If you guys have made it in, let us know.
Yep, I tweeted that as well.
Jonathan K says last year's shirt was pretty bland and boring, though. I believe it was. The year before was the 50th anniversary Star Trek design. It was light blue with a Spock print on it. It was actually really nice.
Oh, somebody's in. Somebody's in. All right, so
it's begun.
It has begun.
Yep, multiple people are saying that they've gotten in.
Rock on.
So someone asked what the odds are for passes today. If the numbers we have are correct, which are all general, it's roughly a 6% chance of getting a badge today. 1 in 16. Not good.
Well, and that's based on numbers from a couple years ago, so it may be even worse now.
It could be worse. It's not better.
It's not better.
They're better than playing the lottery, so.
That's right.
It's like on the chat, Ryan made it. At least the bold "I made it" with 10 exclamation points indicates that.
Hey, way to go, Ryan.
Woo! Yeah, and I saw a couple people on Twitter now who've said that they made it in, so yay! And now the rest of us sit and wait.
I feel like we should have hold music.
Right?
No.
I don't. Well, yeah, I don't know. My friend.
All we have is this.
Yeah, all you guys have is us. We're really sorry.
I mean, we're pretty awesome in everything, but.
Yep.
So, do you get you just get a badge for the day you volunteer, correct?
Correct.
Well, technically, yes. Your badge won't be good unless you volunteered for that day. You get when you check in, you get a badge, and they make you tap in, and that says, okay, you volunteered for the day, you're good for the day. If you go another day and you haven't completed an assignment or you haven't signed up for an assignment that day, and you try to get in, the red light will go off, and you'll have to talk to somebody.
Okay. Legit. Makes it a little easier to check on people with the RFID now.
Yeah, it does.
I was actually...
sorry, go ahead.
For some reason, I listened for like 45 minutes to our closing podcast from from last year. I don't know why. I was like enthralled by our voices or something.
See, I'm the total opposite. I have a couple that come up like on my iPod randomly. I'm always just like, next, next, next. I don't want to hear my voice.
I was actually just testing the equipment to make sure it was working, and I kept listening to it because it was the breakdown of the convention. I'm like, yeah, the line sucked.
Yes, they did. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this real quick, and if I get unlazy, I'm gonna do like an actual op-ed piece. But with all of these batch sales and all of this happening so early for 2018, it is my sincere hope that Comic-Con International then uses the spring to make some actual changes to some things that need actual changes, like the line situation, like autographs, like things of that nature that really and truly need kind of an overhaul. So hopefully that's part of why we're doing these batch sales so early, is so that they can devote time in the spring to some other areas, but who knows?
Well, I'm seeing on Twitter that people are already claiming success.
Yep.
Sassy B word, let's edit for censor for the kiddies, posted a I'm going to Comic-Con. So it looks like people are starting to check out.
Yes, Hall H wristbands is another thing we need. A couple of people mentioned that in the chat. That's another thing that needs a massive overhaul. And I will, even if like literally nothing else changes, I think that will absolutely be getting some big changes this year after the disaster that was last year.
Yes, I can guarantee that after the debacle last year for Saturday, that there will be some changes made. I don't know how large of a change, because Comic-Con doesn't typically make
large scale changes. Yeah,
but yeah, we can expect something to change this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Someone mentioned, I think Jason mentioned, compared to the D23 lines, the SDCC ones were amazing. Yes, that's true. D23 sets a new bar in line ineptitude, but it doesn't mean that the SDCC lines were great. So,
it's yeah.
It could be two varying degrees of bad. It doesn't have to be great and bad. You can't just have okay, they were bad, so they were good, but no, both bad. But
I think you might actually need my lower third, James.
But remember, Comic-Con, they do know what they're doing. It's just they have so many people that are now actively working against what they're doing.
Well, and not only that, but there's so many moving parts, and like it's so difficult, like you said, to kind of like make sure that like every moving part is moving in conjunction with each other the way that they're supposed to be. But we just can't keep doing the same things that we do, like that back staircase. Like, how many years has that been a problem? And like nothing ever happens. Come on, guys. Yeah. I know it's not supposed to work like that, but then you got to change something to make it not work like that.
Yeah.
All right. So preview night is still available right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything sell out yet.
Nope. So again, it took 24 minutes after 9 a.m. last year for it to sell out. So based on that timeline, we'd have roughly about 8 minutes before that sells out. So good luck, everybody.
Seeing more people saying that they got their badges. Seeing other people posting traumatic stress gifs. Got Stewie in the corner of his crib shaking.
I mean, again, just like James says, like it's the Bugs Bunny thing. Like you go in one direction or you go in the other.
Or is that more duck season, wabbit season? I don't. Nah, I guess not.
All right. So what questions do you guys have? That's what we want to know.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? African or European?
4.
Okay, so the yellow status bar now says we are monitoring badge inventory very closely. So I would assume that, I mean, that doesn't say preview night is low, but I would assume that preview night will be gone here relatively soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we're, what is it? A few minutes away from.
CCI just tweeted.
Preview night inventory is running low. You may not be able to purchase a preview night badge if you are selected for a registration session.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
The escalators are going to Comic-Con? Oh, no, they replied to someone. Never mind.
I was like, what?
I know
are you talking about?
They've been
someone mentioned someone in our on Twitter.
Yeah.
I just say random stuff today. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so Vector Chill says, I just saw that member IDs won't work. If the member ID won't work, there's a couple of things going on. First of all, it may be that that person wasn't eligible at all. So maybe that they created their member ID too late or anything else. Second option is that that member ID is currently being used in a different registration session. So if you're working in a badge group, someone else may have like just put that member ID in and they just haven't informed the others, or maybe someone else purchased that badge already, any of those things. If that happens, you should also make sure you have the spelling correct. But if you have the spelling correct and it keeps giving you that, then you're just gonna have to move on to a different member ID, basically.
Congratulations to Jason Kemp, who got in and has been trying for 6 years to get in.
Way to go.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
People can make it in.
That's awesome.
Okay. All right, Jason, now that you've gotten in and you've gotten your badges, you will be coming to Two Blog, Two Furious Gaslamp Drift now, right?
Yes, absolutely. And for those who didn't hear earlier, our offsite party, Two Blog, Two Furious, it's Gaslamp Drift. I said it wrong earlier. I did. It will be on Wednesday night again. It will, I don't have an exact time. It'll probably be from like 7 to 10 or 11. Yeah, I don't want to go till 11 again. But it's like 7 to 10. You can stop by, say hi. We're decently nice human beings. So.
And Scott,
yeah.
you get preview night. Go to the blog
party. Some of us
fun.
are. James is a decently nice human being. That is what I have to say.
Whatever.
Whatever.
He's very cordial.
He is. He is very cordial. I show up late to my own party, but James is very cordial.
Also, just so you guys know, my wife has red hair. Carrie has brown hair.
That's right.
Just because they both wear glasses doesn't mean they're the same person.
No. That's funny. All right.
So more and more people are getting in, of course. And
yeah.
I would expect preview night will be gone in the next 5 minutes easily.
Yeah, I think
since they're running low.
I think so too.
Oh,
and we're about 4 minutes away from when it went away.
Yep.
Last year.
Yep. So I bet we're like pretty close to last year's timing. This happens pretty much every time. Usually, unless like something major is going wrong behind the scenes, like it's about the same every year.
We should start after preview night is over. We're still going when preview night is over. And we're not giving away stuff at preview night anymore because of that reason. And so the stuff we're giving away is all throughout the convention, so everyone has much more of a chance.
Yes. Yeah. No, again, the party is like very different now. It's basically like show up, talk to us. Like we gave out buttons and lanyards last year, but not like
that was fun.
Not like, here's a Hasbro exclusive. Like, that wasn't last year's party. And all the better for it. So.
Oh, but my wife says if you're going to buy drinks, then yes, she could be Carrie.
I got, the best thing I got at Comic-Con last year, actually, was one of our readers who I adore. He actually brought me flea and tick medicine for my dogs.
Aww.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. So I accept that in lieu of drinks, apparently.
That is why our readers are the best. We love you
guys. Sir Lister Smeg asked, is Carrie the Grinch before or after the enlarged tard? Definitely before. Yes. Definitely before. All right. So again, preview night really should be going here pretty much at any time.
Yeah, the last I saw that was just it was low. I haven't seen anything about it being sold out.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is a good point. So the yellow status bar right now says if you purchase all 4 daily badges Thursday through Sunday, they will be automatically converted to a 4-day badge. And that's the same as well of 4-day plus preview night. They'll just automatically convert them, which is really nice so that you don't have to worry about like swapping out badges each day. It's great. Rally Vincent said in the comments, oh, and yes, we did get charged $5 again. We had gotten Sunday only in the previous round. So unfortunately, it looks like if you purchase badges in both returning registration and open registration to fill the gaps that you missed in returning registration, you will actually be charged $5 in each sale rather than once. Lame. Lame.
Yeah, I think that goes towards your idea of it being per credit card transaction.
Yeah, it's expected. I don't think it's really a surprise. I think it's definitely a credit card fee, a processing fee. We have to pay
Preview night
someone
is
to
sold
do all
out.
this fee.
CCI just tweeted that preview night is sold out.
Ugh.
All right. So there goes the first day.
Yeah.
But all other badge types are still available. And again, last year it took like an additional 18 minutes for the next day to sell out, which was Saturday. So we've still got a lot of time. You can still go for all 4 days. And really, guys, like preview night is fun. Don't get me wrong. But it's so jam-packed. So jam-packed that like I haven't gone because we've been doing parties in something like 4 or 5 years. And I really haven't missed it at all.
And that fit right into our timeline. That was 23 after. So just about the same as last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I would say we've got about another like 15 to 18 minutes before the next one sells out. Yep. So someone else talk for a little bit. I gotta do something real quick.
There you go.
Just kidding. We'll actually talk. Does not let us be radio silent. Someone asked, this is the typical question if you're in a buying group, do you fill in your Comic-Con ID or registration ID? To get into, you should already be into the waiting room. You use the registration code they gave you. The member ID that you put in when you get into purchasing badges is the first one of the badge you're purchasing, not necessarily yours.
Yes.
It's the first name / member ID of the person you are buying for. And then you can put in how many you're buying.
And you don't have to buy for yourself at all. Now, you are included in like the total count of 3 people who you can purchase for if you want to buy a badge for yourself. So you can't like buy a badge for yourself and then 3 additional people. It's 3 total. But if you want to buy for 3 other people and not buy it all for yourself, you can absolutely do that. Like it doesn't matter in the slightest.
Yeah.
And then we got another common question. What is typically the best day to go? That all depends on what you're interested in.
It does.
CCI very well stretches out the programming over each day. So,
and currently with how much TV is going and how much good TV is going, there's been good TV. I mean, every day of the convention there was good TV.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're a TV fan, any day is going to be good. Now, if you're a specific TV fan, like if you like the WBDC shows, those are typically on Saturday.
Yep.
Random smaller shows like FX shows are on other days like Thursday or Sunday. So, I mean, it just depends on what you like. But in general, if you're a TV fan, any day.
It's totally true. Like everyone, the typical answer is always like, oh, Saturday's the best day. Like I've been going for a while. Truthfully, like the stuff I care about always winds up being on Thursday, which is always the last day to sell out. Right. And I'm just like, that's fine with me. There is no bad day at Comic-Con, guys.
There
There's
really isn't.
really and truly not. Like, there's so much that goes on. Like, you can find something that will pique your interest. And remember as well, here in a little bit after Saturday sells out, like, it's not the end of the world. There's so much stuff that happens at Comic-Con these days that's outside the convention center that, like, not getting a day or two that you maybe normally do. Sometimes it can force you to go and try some stuff that you've always been like, God, that looks like fun, but I have to go sit in Hall H. And sometimes it winds up being way more fun. Like, I've had that happen to me before.
Oh yeah. Last year was my wife's first year going, and she had to sit through a couple of panels to get through the one that she wanted to. And one of them was Sci-Fi's new show, Happy, which she had absolutely no interest in whatsoever. Never heard of it, had no idea what it was about, but she sat through it in order to get to her panel.
Yeah.
She loved it. Absolutely loved it. We're DVRing it. We love Chris Maloney. I think he's perfect in that role. And if you haven't seen it, that's definitely one that I personally highly recommend.
Well, yeah,
Very
and I mean,
weird,
I think James and I's favorite panel last year was actually that like sci-fi.
The battle panel.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like that wasn't for anything. It was just basically like a bunch of semi-famous nerds like talking about stuff,
Random stuff.
It was amazing. It was like the best.
It's like, hey, nerds have been arguing forever. Hulk versus Superman, who would win? It was basically a bunch of that, only much more random.
Yes, but it was
some
so
people are
good.
mentioning panels on certain days, and yes, Supernatural is typically on Sunday. Vikings is typically on Friday. Some things don't typically change once they're in. It's kind of like an easy way for them to set the schedule. Unless something from the studio requests it, they typically don't change things, but anything can change. Remember that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, because like Doctor Who used to always be on Sundays, and I know one year it was like, I think on Thursday or something. So nothing is ever guaranteed to be on a certain date, basically until they make the schedule. So, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the panels are at the studio schedule. So maybe the studio has something going on Sunday. So, for example, with Doctor Who, that's why they'll put it on Thursday.
Yep. What was I going to say? Clearly, I don't remember. Let's see here.
That's okay.
What do we have?
Someone mentioned DuckTales.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So I hear a lot of people who talk about like, well, what if I'm going for a single show and that show winds up not going? You should still go anyway, honestly. Like, again, there's so much amazing stuff at Comic-Con that even if you're like, I'm literally just here for this one actor, like, try some other stuff. This is a hard one battle to even get to Comic-Con. Like, go enjoy it. However, if you do want a refund, you can get a refund through May. I'm looking it up. I think it's the 14th. It is the 14th through May 14th. And the only thing about that now these days is they will keep 10% for a handling fee. But if you do get a refund, you are not eligible for returning registration next year if you get a refund for all days. So we also get asked a lot of the time, what happens if I buy a badge today and I'm not actually able to physically make it to Comic-Con? If I don't get a refund, am I still eligible for returning registrations next year? And Comic-Con's answer for the last couple of years has basically been, because we now have RFID and they can theoretically check it, the answer has always been, as of right now, you can like buy a badge, not attend, and still be eligible for returning registration, but they reserve the right to change that at any point in time. And I think basically what that really means is if too many people start exploiting that, then they'll look at changing it. But for right now, if something like horrifically tragic happens and you can't attend, don't completely freak out.
Completely. You can still freak out that you're missing Comic-Con for a year.
Yeah, and you can freak out about like whatever tragic thing is happening that you can't go, but don't freak out about returning registration. So
yes.
Okay, yeah,
like
here's a good tip on the yellow bar. It says, do you have a special character in your last name like an accent, umlaut, or hyphen? Please make sure you enter the special character if you are selected for a registration session.
Yes,
That is a really good point. If you're buying for somebody who has some sort of accent or funky letter in their name, make sure you know where to get that letter on your keyboard, character map, whatever.
Yep.
Because you have to spell their name the way it is in CCI's system.
Yes, and that's actually a really fun point, because I had someone ask me earlier, and they said, what happens if like my state driver's license has a hyphen, but my passport doesn't? Like, what do I do? And the answer is, today at least, however it appears in that member ID is how you need to enter it. It doesn't necessarily matter like if your ID is just a little bit off, especially because they are mailing the badges now. The odds of you being asked to show ID are incredibly slim.
I had a question from Annabelle on Twitter. My daughter entered the wrong expiration date and security code for the credit card, but it still went through. What happens now? Will I get a chance to submit the correct info?
Yes, you will. So in cases like this, what happens is Exhibitor will actually, I think in years past they've sent you an email, but they send you an email and basically say, hey, your payment failed, please correct it, and they'll send you a link to where you can enter it again, or they'll give you a phone number where you can call and enter it that way. But they don't just automatically cancel the badge, which is super nice of them. They do give you a chance to fix that.
And you still get the badge for the days that you originally paid for. Or
so long as you fix your payment information, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. And we had a couple people, and still, I guess there's some people from returning registration who said that they haven't yet received their confirmation email. There's an email you can send to. There's a phone number as well that you can call to have them resend. I'll post all of that information here later in the week for the people, because everyone always freaks out about, like, I don't have my confirmation immediately. Speaking of which, confirmations, the way that this works. Today, the person who actually like submitted the order and paid and did all of that will get a receipt, and it will basically have a summary of what just happened. It will not be the barcode email. It's just like, this is your receipt. You purchased 3 badges, 1 4-day with preview night, 1 Thursday only, 1 Sunday only, whatever. That will only go to the buyer. Then within, I believe, 72 hours, each individual person will receive their barcode email. So, yeah. So don't freak out. So CCI apparently just said Saturday's running low.
Yep. Tweet just went out.
Yep.
So
but Saturday.
It's not out yet. It's not out yet.
No.
We're at 9:35, and it went out at 42 after. So yeah, it's right in line with the time again. It looks like they're basically letting the same amount of people through.
Yeah,
every year now.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, it's funny. No one in our group actually has made it through yet.
We struggle just as hard as you guys do, I promise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we are set. We're trying for like some friends and things of that nature. So,
but we still feel the pain.
We do. Again, 4 batch sales in a year. That's too many.
And people having issues like, I think we've seen some people replying on Twitter that they didn't have their registration code, and the DNS was giving them that it didn't exist. And this is another reminder to check the night before.
Yeah.
Yes.
And put it in a document, email it to yourself, do something to get that code before the waiting room is open, so that you don't deal with the fact that the website does crash.
Yep. And in fact, I know for a fact that our lovely Lisa, she posted a what to do the night before the badge sale tips and tricks, and that was definitely one of them. So we do occasionally post helpful things, people.
Occasionally.
One of the trends that I'm seeing on Twitter is a lot of people who haven't been able to get in for a couple of years. I saw one that has been denied for 4 years. Another one that hasn't been in for 6 years are getting back in. So it looks like a lot of people that have been unsuccessful in the past are successful today.
Fresh blood.
There's always hope, guys.
That's right. There is always hope. And again, okay, like we are nowhere near the end of this sale. Like even if Saturday sells out here in just a second.
It's sold out.
It's sold out. There you go. Now that it is sold out, it's not the end of the world. Okay. Like there's still 3 more days. And again, there was one day last year, and it may have been Saturday. Like I think I stepped foot in the convention center for like 30 minutes. And the rest of the time I went out and I did like the offsites and other things. And there's so much going on at the convention center that has nothing to do with necessarily being in the convention center. Yeah.
And if you don't get a badge for a particular day, like Carrie said, make that your offsite day.
Yeah.
Make that the day that you go see whatever's around the convention center, because we all guarantee that there's something that will interest you.
Yep.
I know this past year there was more outside than inside.
Yeah. All right. So with Saturday gone, you know, the way it goes. Sorry for those who needed Saturday or who really wanted to get Saturday. But there's still all the other days available, and Friday will be probably going in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But you got 5 to 10 minutes to get in.
Yeah.
We had a question about a military buyer. Nerd Hooligan asked if they said they got charged full price, even though they're registered as military. Who do they ask to fix that? And I'm thinking you have to email Comic-Con probably.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you do.
Fixed.
You do.
Use their contact page on the website.
And make sure that you can prove that you are in fact military.
Yeah. Yeah, where's that awkward silence thing when we need it?
Go on.
That's right. Aren't you guys so lucky to have us?
Right?
No, not at all. All right, let's see here. What
y'all.
do we have? What questions do we have? Okay, so
Vector Chill asked, friend bought a badge for me. Will I be getting an email as well? Yes and no. You will get the barcode email. Your friend who bought the badge will be getting the confirmation email saying that your credit card was charged, this is what you bought, so on and so forth. You can ask them to forward you that email just in case. But ultimately, every individual member ID that was bought for, whether they actually bought it themselves or not, will get their barcode email.
Yep. Friday inventory is running low, by the way. So like we said, Friday inventory should be going here in any minute, which we're actually, it looks like a little bit ahead of last year's schedule, because last year, here in about 2 minutes is when Saturday would have sold out, and here in about 8 minutes is when Friday would have sold out. So yeah, so it looks like we're a little bit ahead.
And to answer Andre White's question, law enforcement does not get a discount, sorry. It's military, seniors, and juniors.
Juniors. That's right. All right. Friday low.
Any other
Yellow status bar now also says Friday inventory is running low. Let's talk again about hotels for the people who came on late. Because I know there's a couple people who weren't watching here at the beginning. So right now, if you need a hotel, if you just got a badge and you're like, great, I want to book a hotel, what do I do? You've got a couple options. There's 2 different official Comic-Con hotels sales, and then you can also always book completely outside the system and not go through CCI. If you book outside the system, you may be paying pretty exorbitant prices, especially if you want to stay downtown. Think like $1,000 a night. But the non-downtown hotels, if you book outside the system, are usually pretty comparable. But if you want to book through CCI to get the lower rate, Early Bird is on sale right now. These are non-downtown hotels. These are non-refundable hotels, but you can get them right now. That sale will continue until late April, and it looks right now like also in late April is when the general hotel sale will happen, and that is for all the remaining hotels. That includes downtown, the rest of Mission Valley, the rest of the airport hotels, all of that. So, good times.
Also, if you're thinking of doing short-term rentals, we did do a post on this last year. Do so at your own risk. We don't recommend one way or the other.
Oh no, we recommend against it.
Okay.
So we recommend against it. So here's the biggest problem with like Airbnb and those kind of things is some people absolutely have luck with it, but every single year I've seen so many people who get a reservation through Airbnb, and then the host basically realizes, oh wait, it's Comic-Con. I can just cancel this and then charge like 5 times the rate.
Sorry,
And
guys, Friday's out.
Friday's out. And that happens all the time.
So
43.
Yeah.
43.
And sometimes it'll happen like a week before the convention. So just be very careful about booking Airbnb. But yeah, so Friday's out. So we are again a little bit ahead of last year.
Another thing about the Airbnbs, short-term rentals, that sort of thing, their legality has been really up in the air here in San Diego. You would think that a tourist town would love short-term rentals, but a lot of the San Diego communities hate them. They are very community-minded. They want people to live there, stay there, get to know their neighbors, that sort of thing. And if they're only in for a weekend, making noise, calling the cops, whatever, they won't stand for it. The community of Del Mar has moratoriums on short-term rentals, so it's at your own risk. The city attorney that's in right now has come out and said flat out they're illegal, but then the mayor came out right after that and said, okay, they're illegal, but we're not going to enforce it. So if anything happens, if you're in a short-term rental, you're taking a risk. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. So now we only have Thursday and Sunday left. So those will take a little longer. At least they have in the past to sell out. Typically about an extra 20 minutes. Unlike the Friday, Saturday that are gone almost one right after the other. So we'll see how it goes. Someone asked a question about parking. When is Ace doing their parking? They don't do it until I think sometime around March, April-ish is when it kind of gets announced, and you have to send in your name with an email, and then you have 6 weeks of being able to purchase in groups, so groups 1 through 6. They won't announce anything until next year, though. They usually have a page all set aside for Comic-Con and everything, and they haven't changed it much over the last couple of years, so expect it to be the same.
Yep.
And Sir Lister Smeg wrote, if you have a car and are willing to drive, just get an Airbnb away from the city. Those are actually the ones whose communities are revolting against the Airbnbs. So the further away you go from downtown, the less Airbnb friendly you're going to find it.
Just get a regular hotel. Get further away. If you're going to go further away, just get further away. It's not as expensive. You can get
it really isn't
$150 hotels 30 miles away. Book them outside the system and then drive in, get parking if you can. You know, that's the other lottery. You know, you're gonna have to deal with a lottery somehow.
Or hop on the trolley.
On the trolley.
Yep.
The trolleys are so much fun going into Comic-Con. I get on at the very beginning of the trolley line, and then I ride it the whole way down. And watching the people come on that's my entertainment. That's my pre-entertainment right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Parking at Qualcomm and ride the trolley in as well. That's an option.
Stay out of town and Uber. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
So
there's all kinds of options
At
now.
Qualcomm Stadium, there is no Qualcomm Stadium anymore. It is now
What is it now?
SDCC Stadium. Qualcomm said, well, the charges are out. We don't want it anymore. SDCCU said, we will take it. So, yes, if you're looking for Qualcomm Stadium, you're going to have a hard time.
Yes.
All right, so Thursday and Sunday are currently all that's available. It's flip-flopped a couple years as to which one sells out first, but they usually sell out pretty much at the exact same time. So again, if this is your first time going to Comic-Con, or even if it's not, there is no bad day to go. So I know that some of you are probably pretty disappointed here right now thinking, oh, well, Friday and Saturday and preview night are all gone. But Thursday and Sunday are still fantastic days. Sunday is usually the very best day to be on the floor. And like I said, Thursday is always my very favorite day.
Yeah, I like Thursday too.
It, like, without fail, it always has like whatever TV show I'm most excited about. So
Lady Hawk
awesome.
NZ asked if you can do a volunteer shift with someone or do they separate you? It really all depends on where they need people. If you go in, when you sign in, if you guys go in together and say, hey, we want to be together, they will try to accommodate you. If not, they're going to put you where they need you.
Well, and someone also mentioned if you get Thursday or Sunday for next year, you're also eligible for returning registration, which has so much better odds than open registration. So much better odds. So that's a great reason, honestly, to go. Someone asked, when will we see the next blog episode? Probably not for a while. It really just kind of depends on a couple of things. Assuming we usually start our season in like April or May. Assuming that the hotel sale is in late April, that will be probably among the first of our episodes, but we'll see.
Most likely it will start after WonderCon ends.
Oh, that's true.
Typically when we do it is within a week or two of WonderCon ending, we start up the season.
Yes, that's true.
It just depends on how early WonderCon is.
Also true.
But also, that's also a chance to mention the sister convention of Comic-Con. The other one they run is WonderCon, and tickets are on sale now. It's a 3-day convention in Anaheim.
Yep.
Hotels are on sale. Tickets are on sale. They do not sell out that quick, but typically Saturday will sell out. It is a fun convention. It's basically Comic-Con light. It's less crowded, less difficult, and I would say 99% of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because it's less crowded and less difficult. But there's also good stuff there because a lot of the people go there that go to Comic-Con. The programming is a little lighter because obviously it's not as big, but there's still good programming there.
Yeah, no, WonderCon is absolutely amazing. And I mean, a very good point is if you can't make it into this, but you still want to like go to an awesome convention this year, like WonderCon is great. And it's kind of like Comic-Con light. Like it's good.
And it's right across the street from Disneyland.
Yeah, and they do offer, they have offered the last few years night tickets for a discounted rate. So you can go to Disneyland after the convention for only $3 billion instead of $80 billion.
Woo! That's funny.
You don't have to mortgage your home.
Yep.
Yeah. So
We're still getting in.
Yeah, people are still getting in.
Great to everyone.
Tickets.
Yeah, and again, there is no bad day. There's really not. So we should, though, I would think that we'll probably see a sellout here relatively soon, like probably within the next 10 minutes or so. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, if everything's running a little bit quicker, I think in about 10 minutes we should see one of the 2 days sell out.
Yeah.
And if you're still waiting to get in, just don't give up hope. There's still a couple days left.
Don't give up hope until it's all sold out.
Exactly. It ain't over
That's
till
right.
it's over.
And you know what? Even then, there's contests. There's other things like
Truth.
It's not over until, quite frankly, the convention is over.
But don't use Craigslist. Don't go that
No,
route. Craigslist,
no.
eBay, no.
Yes,
no.
yes. Okay, so let's bring this up real quick. If you don't get a badge today, can you buy a badge from a friend? Can you use someone else's badge, etc.? The answer to that is an emphatic no. You cannot resell a badge. You cannot purchase a badge off eBay, Craigslist. You cannot use someone else's badge. If you are caught either buying or reselling one of those badges, you will be banned from Comic-Con. Not like, oh, well, you just can't go this year. Like, no, you will be banned. So just don't risk it.
They also mentioned that, let's say Joe bought tickets for Frank and Mike, and then Mike went and sold his badge on eBay and got caught. Frank and Joe will have their tickets canceled as well because they were bought on the same purchase. All tickets on a purchase, even if one of them was used for a resale, all of them get canceled.
Yep.
So not only do you kill yourself, you kill the two people behind you.
Exactly. So be aware of that. Don't do it. So Craigslist, eBay, all of those, unless it's being run by Comic-Con's actual eBay account, which they do have.
And they did that once in like 2009.
But also, no, they did the auctions for badges for charity.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah,
which, went for like $6,000.
Yeah. Oh,
but
and keep an eye on our contest hub because during the months of June and early July, there's always a ton of radio contests, TV stations, and
other companies. And some of them you do have to be like a resident of Southern California, but for a lot of them, they're open to anyone, usually in the US. Sorry, international people. But there are contests, and we do try to compile all of them. So, yeah. There are other options. And again, if you can't go, like, it'll be okay. Just try again for next year. I'm telling you, like, look into volunteer registration because with as slow as it's been to fill up the last 2 years, it should be okay. Hey, James, you might glance in the chat.
So I don't know. I guess we should do. Hold on.
We should do what?
Dance.
I like it. I like it. See, Ryan Gravador said in our comments, see Facebook contest. I won a Saturday badge a couple years ago. So people do actually win. They do. It's not impossible. Josh said in the comments, they will allow you by emailing them Comic-Con and transferring them to another person for no charge. If something comes up and you can't make it, that is absolutely not true. Badges are non-transferable.
Yeah, if you get a badge and something comes up, funeral, wedding, something pressing, then no, you can't just say, here, take my badge.
No, you can't. Now, if you are after the refund deadline and something happens, like there's a death in the family, again, like something horrific happens, and you're after the refund deadline, email Comic-Con still. They're usually pretty accommodating. And Cavi Warrior just asked, contest badges don't count towards returning registration, right? Correct. So if you win a badge through one of these contests, you'll get to attend in 2018, but you won't be able to participate in returning registration for 2019. That's only for those who paid for a general attendee badge.
And therefore, the ones that were done on that auction for charity, they said that they would be valid, didn't they? Since they're paying technically.
I think so.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
you're right.
I think that was specifically mentioned in those that they would be valid for returning registration. Could be wrong, but I think that's what it was.
Sorry, Raisin19 asked if volunteering is still available for WonderCon. No, I think that volunteer is full up. Also, CCI just tweeted out that Thursday inventory is running low.
Okay.
And that's 56.
So, yeah, so this is about to all be over. Again, it's way more fun at the start of these when there's hope and optimism and all those fun things. Yeah, it's always a little bit sadder for the rest of us.
And Josh Johnson mentioned funeral ? LMAO. Dude, look, if a family member dies, like if one of my parents dies, then yeah, I'm going to the funeral. I'm not going to Comic-Con.
No, but like I said, like if those kind of situations happen, if you're after the refund deadline, just email Comic-Con. Like they're usually pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Ashley Travis asked on Twitter, if people return their badges, do they go back on resale? So long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, we did actually used to have badge resales, but there have been so few returned badges the last couple years that those just haven't happened. And Comic-Con has pretty much stated that, at least for the time being, like they don't anticipate those coming back. So no, and there will not be a resale this year unless something like astronomically crazy happens and a ton of people return them. Those badges typically then just get used towards other things because there's different like pools of people and different things. But yeah, just the problem is just so few get returned that they could, I mean, you can't have like a badge resale for like 50 badges for 1 million people. Like you just can't do it. So
Yeah, I think that would take less than a second.
yeah, no. All right.
Jason Big says, so glad I got my badges on Return Reg. Yep, we know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Reza wants to know about those people who got 4-day badges from the Hall H mess up last year. Will they get into returning reg next year? I'm thinking they probably will.
That would be my guess too, yeah. But we don't know for sure.
But we don't know.
Let's see here.
Nothing new from CCI yet.
If
No.
Thursday was low, it should be going soon, though.
Yeah. Yep.
Looks like someone got in for their first time. Congratulations.
Oh, that's
Alice.
awesome. Yep.
And it looks like that's going to be during Allie's birthday. So if you swing by the blog party, we'll have to do something nice for you.
I got a button. Maybe a lanyard.
Hey,
maybe a lanyard. Maybe a lanyard.
Maybe a lanyard. Yeah, sure. Why not?
A couple of people asked to explain the Hall H fiasco last year. Essentially, people counterfeited the wristbands or some other way. And when everyone was let in on Saturday morning, by the time the Justice League WB panel started, which was the first panel of the day, there were still 400-ish people with valid wristbands standing in line outside. And the reason why this is just, hey, 400 people didn't make it in, there was 400 people who went in instead of them. It's like, no, they actually hand out fewer wristbands than there are seats. So it was more like probably closer to 1,000 people might have gotten in on counterfeits or in other nefarious ways. And so what happened is that during that WB panel, Eddie Ibrahim of Comic-Con went out and told the people out there that, they were sorry, and they're giving them a 4-day pass to Comic-Con 2018. So that's the reason why, when we mentioned earlier that we expect there to be a change to the Hall H system, that's the reason why. It's because of the counterfeits and the things that were happening.
Thursday's gone.
Last year. Thursday is gone.
At 10 o'clock on the dot.
All right. So, expect changes for Hall H. We don't know what they'll be. We don't know if they're going to make more use of RFID. We don't know if they're going to scrap the wristbands, alter the wristbands. Who knows? But we are expecting something, and hopefully it's something that will. The best option is to, one, obviously no more counterfeiting, but also some way to stop the 2 days of lines necessary to get in. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it'd be kind of nice if it did.
Sunday
We'll
badges
see.
are still available, right?
Yes, Sunday is still available at the time being. It should sell out at any moment in time. And sorry for the weird ringing noise.
Okay. So yeah, don't freak out, guys. There's still one day available. Sunday is still available.
I would hope at the very least for Hall H they make use of RFID and have everyone tag in when they get a wristband. If they're still going to do wristbands or however way, basically make it to where you have to tap in specifically for Hall H and you get a green light for Hall H. That's the only way you can get in. So if you don't have access to Hall H, if you didn't wait in line, then you just can't get in. But also they need to, that also goes back to the line management and how people would cut into line where there was fewer security, keeping an eye on things further back. So there you go.
It looks like Sunday badges are still going.
Sorry, my weekly Saturday tornado siren is still going off. This happens every badge sale because these are always on Saturdays.
10 a.m. Boom.
Boom. Yeah, but it's it's over. Yay.
Someone mentioned about how D23 hands out a pass that grants you access to Hall H or to their big room. People will still line up. It doesn't change how it's just because we talked about this a lot on the end of year podcast a few months ago. People want front of room, and that's the people you have to deal with that want that are willing to wait 2 days. I mean, a lot of people that waited 1 day got in as long as you were in before a certain amount of time. But what the wristbands did is they just moved everything further back, so you had to wait even longer because you had to wait the amount of time to get 2 wristbands and then wait from wristbands till the start of the show. So, we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting.
Yes. I think this next year is going to be really interesting for a lot of reasons. I think that things finally went so wrong last year that they can no longer ignore some of the line management issues. At least that's my hope. So.
Thank you, Vector.
Let's see here. So yeah, Sunday is still available. But it should be going here relatively soon, I would think.
Ali asked, when should I get to Hall H? Well, tomorrow? But no, listen to the podcast when we talk about scheduling 2 weeks before the convention. When the schedule comes out, we talk about when we can expect people to be lining up for things. Really talking about Hall H, it all depends on what's in the room. So there's no point in saying line up 2 days in advance.
Comic-Con badges
unless we
sold
know.
out.
Yep, 10:05.
Badges are all sold out. All gone. All gone.
So that is 7 minutes faster than last year.
Okay.
All right.
Well.
All right. Well, hold on. Okay. So, unfortunately, that's the end of open registration.
Nope, Sunday just sold out, dear.
Yep. And that is the last of the badge sales for 2018. If you weren't successful this year, I know that it's so disheartening, but it's really not the end of the world, I promise. You can try again for next year. You can work with badge buying groups. You can try to volunteer. There's so many options. And honestly, if you're in SoCal, you can even still go downtown and do the offsites. And if you didn't get the days you wanted, you can do the offsites. There's so much stuff that happens there outside of the convention center walls. I do want to mention one more time, thank you so much to all of our readers who actually attended the first Two Blog, Two Furious this year on Wednesday. And we will be doing it again. 2018's version will be Two Blog, Two Furious Gaslamp Drift. It will be on Wednesday night at a location and time still to be announced. But we would love for you guys to stop by, have a drink, say hi. We just want to talk to you guys. We'll have buttons, maybe some other stuff, but it'll be just really informal. It'll be a lot of fun. And anything else that I'm missing?
I don't think so. Congratulations to everyone who got tickets, especially those of you who have been trying for years and finally got in. It'll be great to have you there and enjoying this experience. For those of you who didn't get in, sorry.
Our condolences.
Try again next year. If you're local, head on down and do some of the offsites. You know, just hopefully get in next year. I mean, we have people coming and going all the time, so.
I mean, unfortunately, the sad truth of it is just the demand far outweighs the availability, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with the size of the convention center, people. The problem is that like a million plus people want to attend this convention. Like that's you literally cannot hold 1 million plus people anywhere except a field in South Dakota. Okay. as we have joked before, if that's really what you want, like South Dakota Comic-Con,
they don't have to change the name.
No,
SDCC hashtag stays the same.
That's right.
Hey, keep in mind the original Woodstock held 500,000 people, and that was in a giant field in New York.
Well, there you go. Fields are the way to go. That's what I'm hearing.
And if you want to do it Woodstock style, talk to CCI.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so this is our last podcast of 2017. SDConCast will be back to start the official 2018 season in April or May. We haven't figured that out yet, but we will announce when it's coming back. So we look forward to filling your ears with Comic-Con news soon-ish.
Yes, soon-ish. Ish. Yes. Heavy on the ish. You can sign up for our newsletter. The link is going to be in the show notes, and it's also on the sidebar on our site. We will actually send one at some point in time. we got out like 5 last season. We might do a couple more. Yeah, it's not bad. We might get out some more in 2018, or we might not.
We might not.
We might not.
So anyway, thank you all for joining us and letting us walk with you through this adventure. Andy, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SDCC Wacky Wags. Come join me. Send me a follow request. I love all you guys. Carrie, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me over on Twitter at Carrie Dixon. And James, what about you? Where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I am everywhere online at Dan Regal, and you can also check out geekshotphoto.com for photography from my wife and I.
All right, so we are on iTunes. If you'd like to subscribe, the links are up on the blog. You can search for SDConCast. If you like what you've heard so far, please review us. We are also on Stitcher Radio. The link is in the show notes. I'm being attacked.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at sdcomiccon.blog@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/sdconblog or tweet us at sd_comic_con. Thank you all for listening. And everybody.
Hold on. Before we sign out, let's wish everybody Merry Christmas / Happy Holidays and Happy New Year.
Yes.
That's right. I know. This is so weird, the timing of doing this.
It is weird.
I'm actually finding that we had a disturbing lack of Christmas puns as promised, so I apologize for that.
Sorry.
I brought the pugs, though. I brought the pug and a half.
There were pugs, but no puns. I apologize. There was plenty of awkward silence, but oh well.
Oh well. Oh well.
So everybody, do what?
Go.
Happy holidays, everybody.